Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and always keeping it real, so please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. On today's conversation, y'all, it's been stuck on me. It's been on my spirit, especially it popped up when I was listening to the Michael Smericano's program on Sirius XM, because I am a listener, I'm a subscriber. I don't just listen to myself speak. No, but all jokes aside, I enjoy listening. I'm a fan of the Michael Smericano's show. Now, a fill-in host, Ellie Hogue, who's a regular fill-in host for the Michael Smericano's program. He's also I think contributor with CNN. He had on a special guest a young man who happens to be a classmate of his son in college, and he's a part of this organization. And don't quote me on the name of the organization. Let me see if I can actually pull it up here. As we are. Let me see here. Let me see if I can pull up here. And the more of the conversation was can progressives, democratic socialists, can they win over the overall? Can they win elections? That's basically, can they win elections over the establishment? Can they win elections? And I've brought it up many times on the show. I've just worded it differently. I'm like, look, progressives, yes, they're popular. They're probably winning when it comes to the message, or they're winning the groundwork. But when it comes towards the final countdown, the final stretch, they lose on election day. And then you have all these individuals that become popular figures in politics, but they don't win the election. So they had brought up, what is the name of that? Let me see if I got it right here. Lord have mercy. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think this is what it's called. I think it's called Promise to America. Promise to America. Let me see if that's the name of his organization, because this is a young man. Let's see. Alex, Promise to America. Let me see if this is the name of the organization. Yes. Okay, perfect. Promise to America is a centrist political initiative launched by moderate Democratic lawmakers and candidates, featuring Felix Frisk. That's who he was talking to, who's a director that rejects socialism in favor of capitalist economic growth, secured borders, and patriotic moderation. So he is a moderate, right? Young man, a moderate. He's trying to gather as many young, I believe, and just folks in general to look at the overall message. We have to have somewhat of common sense. Now, look, there's some views where DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, like some of their policies, it gravitates to the everyday American when it comes to healthcare being a right and not something that you have to bend your break your back to try and afford, and try and pay for. education should be a right. Technically, it is in the public school sector, right? People don't pay to put their students into public school, right? They pay for private school, but they don't pay for public school. But in other countries, and this is what guys like Bernie Sanders has continued to speak on, is in other countries they'd have free healthcare, free universal healthcare, and they're still very successful. They're still very wealthy. Why can't the wealthiest country in the world gravitate to something like that? And so it brings the conversation, y'all. Can this new rise of this rise in the democratic socialist movement, can it win over the Democratic Party? Can it win over the Democratic Party? We'll talk on that later on in the show. Also, here in Virginia, former lieutenant governor and former gubernatorial candidate Winsome Earl Sears, Republican Winsome Earl Sears, is back to the spotlight of politics as she hits the campaign trail against proposed amendments on abortion and same-sex marriage. So we'll talk about that as well. As always, my friends, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule for tuning in to yet another great episode. This is episode 638 of the Arrington Gavin Show. We drop new episodes weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast, whether that's iHeart, Spotify, Apple, just to name a few. We're available on all podcast platforms. You can also follow us on our socials at the Arrington Gavin Show on Instagram. You can also follow us on X at AG Show Live. And lastly, you can check out our awesome website, www.theagshow.com. Again, that is www.theagshow.com. You can catch up on recent episodes. You can also hit me up through our website as well. We got some great stuff on there. Great photos. I always try to, we always try to update it from time to time, but it's a dope website. You can also reach out, obviously, on socials. What else do we got for you? Oh, you can also check out past episodes of the Arrington Gavin Show on GOATverse TV. If you download the app, the GOATverse TV app, it's available on the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire TV. So you can check out GOATverse TV as well. And we're continuing our goal of trying to make it to 5,000 subscribers. Please, my friends, if you tune in, if you're watching this, do me a favor, subscribe to our channel if you enjoy the conversation. Look, if you agree or disagree with some of the conversation, look, I'm a fan of conversation. Civil dialogue is important. We can agree to disagree without insulting each other, because at the end of the day, I truly believe that we all have the same common goal, just a different pathway how to get to that goal. But we have guests from all sides of the aisle, all different backgrounds, from entertainers, athletes, political figures, candidates, right? Folks doing great stuff in the community. We have that here on the program. So again, we have fun here, but we also want to inform. If you want to check out more of our content, you have to subscribe, man. Subscribe. It's at no cost. All you have to do is click that subscribe button. Like this video that you are tuning into right now. And like I said, leave us a comment, all that great stuff. I truly appreciate it. We have a goal to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If we don't succeed that goal, that's fine. Continue to subscribe. If we go past that, that'll be a blessing. So I would truly appreciate it if you can do that for me. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we're going to talk a lot in regards to this whole back and forth, this disconnect in the Democratic Party. At one point, I see the reason why the socialist movement is growing in the Democratic Party, but at the end of the day, as a realist, do I think it will win elections? I will give you that take after these commercial breaks. Thank you for tuning in and sticking with us. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more here on the Arrington Gavin Show. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to.
And we still in traffic.
Don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up.
With me?
Yeah, this that new Gold Verse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
GoatVerse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story, crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit, and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together, we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs, and we're gonna bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore, bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
.610 number one pick, 16 seasons, college player of the year, all rookie standout. Joe Smith built a career on grit, consistency, and showing up.
Greatness isn't just about the game. It's about how you show up every day. Rugged Evolution now offers body care products for every man, because not every man wears a beard, but every man deserves care. Greatness doesn't fade.
It evolves. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Every beard deserves to be legendary, and every man deserves care.
All right, my friends, welcome back. Welcome back. Look, just have some breaking news, I guess, in the as we were having some commercials done there. as of right now, so I'm pre-recording this, and this is what day is it today? It is Friday, July 24th. This is Friday, July 24th. And this is a breaking news. I'm actually typing it in at the moment. So the one, the only, known as many as King James, but of course we know him as LeBron James, has announced, it's reportedly, that he is heading to Philadelphia and becoming a 76ers. This is truth as of right now. Like I said, it literally just popped on my feed, and I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and share this with you all at the moment. Again, this was not planned, but I knew, especially for you sports folks out there like myself, I am a big sports fan too. So LeBron James has announced that he is heading to Philadelphia, becoming the Sixers. This is reported right now by Yahoo Sports. It says here LeBron James is signing with the Philadelphia 76ers. According to ESPN's Shams Charania, James is joining the 76ers on a 2-year, $8 million deal with a player option. Now, in a message on X, the 41-year-old LeBron James said he felt he was finished at the end of the season and that he needed time to figure out his future. And let me read you this quote. It says here, "I thought I was done when the season ended. I wasn't ready to announce it, and I knew I needed some time to really decide, but I was pretty sure I played my last game. I was honest at that last press conference when I said I needed to look at myself and decided if I still love this game. I truly still love this game. And I have more to give. The last few weeks has really been special. I've never been able to have no clue what to do and take real time to just think. I've had an incredible few months with all the people I love trying to figure it all out. This is my last decision. I'm not going for money. I'm not going for family. I'm what I am really playing for at this point. I still want to sacrifice. I still want to work. I still want to grind. I still want to compete, to win, to have a chance at the feeling of winning another championship. I believe I can help make the Philadelphia 76ers a championship team, and I'm excited to energize a new fan base and start this incredible journey one last time. Thank you, LA, Miami. I'll forever love, and Northeast Ohio will always home. Good gracious. So LeBron James joined 76ers after 8 seasons with the Los Angeles Lakers. Again, this will be his 24th, if I'm not mistaken, I believe 24th season. Yep. He signed a 2-year deal, so he's pushing for 25 years, which is already, I'm pretty sure, a record. I think it's a record now with 24 seasons. But injuries, obviously, Father Time has been taking a toll on his body. He can still play. He's still a tremendous athlete. He still can contribute to a team. Now, personally, I don't think that this signing is major as far as like, oh snap, we about to go to the championship. Like, I don't think that's a guarantee. I do not think that means that's a guarantee contender for him to be a championship worthy team. Yeah, they got some great pieces, but look, Joel Embiid, injury prone. Okay. Philly last season got swept by you see it, New York Knicks, my Knicks. Jaylen Brown was a new sign on for Philly. I think he was traded Philly from the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown does have a ring, so you are receiving, you're inheriting a champion, someone who's been there before. LeBron James, veteran, again, 24 years, 3 rings, played, I believe, in what 5 championship games. I'm trying to remember. I know I'm blanking, but I know he has 3 because he has one with he has 2 with Miami, 1 with Cleveland. Oh no, hold up. Does he have 4? Because I know he won 1 with LA. Hold up. Let me see here how many rings LeBron has. Let me correct myself. 4. Okay, so he has 2 with Miami, 1 with Cleveland, and then 1 with Los Angeles. People forget he won with LA under, in the bubble. Let me see what was his average last season? All right, so he played what, 60 games? Okay, played in 60 games. In the 60 games, he averaged around a little over 30 points. Oh no. I mean 20. He averaged around 21 points a game, played average of around 30 minutes. I mean, stats are still solid. I'm sorry, his stats are still, he can still contribute to a squad. Now, do we see a different LeBron James because he knows this is the final stretch? Next season could possibly be his last, or the final year of his contract could be his last. 41 years old. He doesn't need the money. He has won, right? I mean, is he trying to win all the records? What, he already said, look, it's just, he still wants to grind. He still wants to win. He still wants to have that chance to win another championship, make it 5 for him, because, hey, it's always going to be that debate between him and Jordan. Who's better? Who's this? Who's that? He's already showing he's showing that he can still play at the age of 41, which is remarkable. You look at guys like Kobe Bryant, played 19 years. You look at guys like Vince Carter. I think he played at the age of 41, 42. Paul Pierce, Garnett, Ray Allen. I mean, there's a number of players in the league that is like, Chris Paul. I mean, these guys still, they played for a long time, but did they play at the level of LeBron? No. Okay, they did not. I guess my question is, before I close this subject or this segment here, can LeBron, is this a big deal for the 76ers? Does this help their chances at a championship, or is this just, give them great publicity, and that's all it is publicity? It gives them more money and ticket sales. It says, oh snap, they're playing Philly, or he's going to be playing in Philly, so King James is now back on the East Coast, and he's gonna he's gonna send them to the promised land. Because look, Philly has never won, to my understanding. I don't think they ever won a championship game, even with when they had the great Allen Iverson, right? They made it close, but they didn't, no cigar. So we will see, my friends. We will continue to talk more about this. I'm going to try and get in contact with some of my friends that are experts in the world of basketball, in the NBA. I would love to get their take on this. But as I digress from this story, y'all, let me go ahead and move it on to politics, which we wanted to talk about initially. But again, this news just popped up, and I'm like, I got to share about this. So again, before we start our next story, again, breaking news: LeBron James has announced that he had signed a 2-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. He will be entering into his 24th season at the age of 41, and let's see what he does. But let's go ahead and let's talk about some politics, y'all. Let's talk about some politics. So this whole back and forth between the socialist movement the disconnect and divide in the Democratic Party between progressive socialists and moderate, established, or the establishment, right? Folks that are centrist, folks that are moderate, folks that might have accepted corporate PAC money, those that are more capitalists. And so we want to talk about it. We want to talk about it because I was listening to a conversation on SiriusXM, as I mentioned earlier in the show, between Ellie Hong, who is a regular fill-in host for Michael Smaricana's program, and he had a gentleman by the name of Felix Frisch, who is the director of a political initiative called Promise to America. As I mentioned, it is a centrist political initiative by moderate Democratic lawmakers that rejects socialism in favor of capitalist economic growth, secured borders, and patriotic moderation. Now, their core principles is capitalism over socialism, right? Explicitly states their quotes. It says, "We are capitalists, not socialists, advocating for an economy that rewards hard work and lower costs. Safety and security, right? Emphasizes secured borders, orderly immigration, and law and order, safety in local communities. Fiscally responsibility pledges a commitment to balanced budgets, tackling the national debt and financial discipline." And then mainstream governance rejects political extremism in favor of free speech, common purpose, and practical problem solving. So they support folks like Congressman Tim Swazi out of New York, who is a capitalist, right? He's very open about that. He was somebody that is looked at as not a fan of DSA. He was not a fan, nor did he endorse Zohran Mamdani, the newly elected mayor in New York City, who continues to be a fan favorite in the socialism movement, right? But reality, because it's midterm season right now, we've seen 3 of Zohran Mamdani's candidates that he has endorsed in New York win their primaries, right? They have beat incumbents, they have beat established candidates, and now they're the Democratic nominee for their districts. I believe in Colorado we've seen it happen as well. Pennsylvania, Michigan is looking like it's gonna be a leaning for a member of DSA. I'm blanking on his name, but he is a fan favorite. In my personal opinion, I think that progressives, socialists, democratic socialists, however I look at them as kind of the same in my my honest opinion. They win on the ground. They're organizers. They are true organizers. Boots on the ground. They win A+. That's something that the Democratic Party has always lacked. The overall, the larger party has struggled when it comes to the boots on the ground, getting the message across to everyday folks. Now, the socialism movement is winning on the ground. They're winning they're very well organized. But are they winning elections? At the end of the day, are they winning elections? Me, I say no. Because how many times have we seen? I mean, just look at the number of, count the Democrats in House or in Congress, right? When you look at strongly progressive leaning folks, you have Bernie, who's an independent, but he hits the campaign trail a lot with the Democrats, but he's a progressive. AOC, Ilhan Omar. There's oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name, but she's out of Michigan. Because I'm thinking of squad members. Squad already lost 2. They lost Cori Bush, who's trying to make a comeback. And she represented, no, she wasn't Minnesota. Where was Cori Bush? State she was in. Then you also have Then you also have Missouri. I knew it started with an M. Then you have Jamal Bowman, who's no longer, he got voted out, right? So there's a period where, you know, there's obviously very blue areas where they're winning, which is understandable, you know, is common. That's why I said, you know, don't get your so excited the fact that Zoram won in New York. That's New York. That's New York. They won in those districts, those very hardcore blue districts. That's where he won. He is a mayor. Now, don't get me wrong. New York City mayor does have a lot of power and popularity in the state of New York, right? You see Kathy Hochul on the campaign trail with him because she's wanting to run for re-election for governor. But she knows that, hey, majority of that state is winning right now. Zoram is a fan favorite. But it's not going to work in Virginia. It's not going to work in Washington State. It's not going to work in Florida. It's not going to work in Texas. It's not going to work in the Maryland area. It's not going to work, in my opinion, in Midwest states. It's not going to win in those areas. It could easily, Zoram Mamdani will be very successful in Cali and where he's at now. There's a period where you do have to find common ground. You can't be so on the fringes of certain things. Now, again, that's just my honest opinion. The debate we see now during these midterms is, okay, does the establishment embrace the socialism movement and stand behind it and just say, okay, look, we need to campaign and rally on this socialism movement, because right now they're looking pretty popular in some of these races, but do they flip districts? I don't think, me personally, I don't think socialists are flipping, red districts. I don't. I personally do not. Now, one of their biggest critics is the Raging Cajun, James Carville, longtime Democratic strategist. He cannot stand progressives. He can't stand, socialists. And he even said they should start their own party. They should start their own party. Now, the reason why he's saying that, as a strategist, he's like, okay, folks like Zoram Mamdani is not helping the overall party. Why? Because if he says one off the wall comment, that is going to be shared and repeated on the campaign trail for Republican candidates and Republican incumbents. See, here's the thing. When MAGA came out, that brought Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert. I'm just going to name those three, but specifically Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is what I considered a far right individual, very far right. And she was extremely MAGA to the core, controversial with her comments. I mean, she's now, I guess, found Jesus, but I'm not buying that crap. The Democratic Party always said, look at how all they take is one person and say, look at how the Republican Party is. They're losing their mind. Look at this. Look. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene, I've heard it firsthand from candidates and from Democratic elected officials. They bring up her name on a regular. Same goes for the Republicans. They bring up controversial names like AOC. They always bring up AOC this, Ilhan Omar. Now they're bringing up Zoram Mamdani, who, again, has no power in D.C., but he has power in New York City. But they're repeating words that he's saying that, look, this is the movement. Goodness gracious. So one of Zoram Mamdani's candidates that he endorsed, her name was, and I'm going to see if I can pronounce this correctly, Daria Liza Avila Chevalier, who has said she's a Democratic nominee for the, let me make sure I get the district right. She is a Democratic nominee for New York's 13th congressional district. Okay, 13th congressional district. She has made some very wild comments in the past. Okay, let me go ahead and so obviously the back and forth is going to be their stance on between Israel and Palestine. So that's she's very pro Palestine. She's been a very a vocal supporter of Palestine rights and has called for U.S. military aid, ending U.S. military aid to Israel. She's mentioned abolishing ICE, which I've had candidates on speak about abolishing ICE, and they have they have perfect reasons to to share that. But I'm not here to say if I agree with her or not, but I'm just looking at the overall. What does the majority of the Democratic base, do they agree with that? Do they agree with that? So abolishing ICE. She had talked about defunding the police and abolishing prisons. Now, come on. Abolishing prisons. So where do you put prisoners at that point? Seriously. Where do they go? Abolishing prisons. Ending deportations, eliminating traditional border enforcement. Okay. She was an extremely harsh critic of Joe Biden. I'm not going to repeat the words she said. She made her very bad comments towards Kamala Harris. Like, she is a very controversial individual, in my honest opinion. So folks like her is going to be continued on being the face of the overall Democratic Party, especially during campaign season. It's midterms. Midterms is very competitive right now, especially elections. Democrats have been winning. Okay, they have been doing good. Republican Party has been doing awful, which I had on a while back, Mike Trematt, who was a libertarian for 15 years. Prior to that, he was a Republican, and then libertarian, then his left the Libertarian Party and is back to Republican. And he was very honest. He said, hey, look, Trump has hurt enormously the Republican Party, and he's going to continue to hurt them. And it's really like a alley-oop for the left to be like, okay, let this man continue to, put the Republican Party in the shithole. His words, not mine. But we have got to. Democratic Party has got to capitalize on the fact that they are trying to rebuild. They have to read between the lines. They have to really, really, really pay attention to that strategy. All right. But again, it's difficult when you have this disconnect between socialists and the establishment. Again, so some of their policies that they support, universal health care, again, common sense stuff. I think a lot of folks can agree with that. Now expand tenant protection and rent control. That's a bit dicey. I will say, because I've read some stories on that. Okay, banning super PAC money. That's something that is really bipartisan, in my opinion. That's bipartisan, because folks are like saying, I don't want to see candidates being bought. I want to see Congress being bought out, because they're going to look for the interests of big corporate donors than the everyday people in their district. So I totally agree with that. Congressional stock banning. Okay, support. Greater investment in social programs. Hell yeah. Talk more in regards to what you are for and not what you're so against. What are you going to do and not what you're against is my thing. James Carville has said, oh gosh, and I'm gonna try to remember what he admitted, and I heard this on the radio. He said that until I see y'all beat Republicans in elections, then talk to me. And until then, I don't see any value. I don't see, because what he's saying is that, look, win some damn elections and not people can always win primaries, but are you gonna win these elections? Because, and I kind of hear where he's going with this, because I've had the opportunity, and I know a lot of progressives, I consider them close friends. And I'm not far against some of their views. I feel like they have strong views because it relates to everyday people. But realistically, are they winning elections? You might be winning the message. You can continue to be community activists and continue to do great work in the community, which does have a huge impact. But when it comes to actually making it into law, changing it when it, going to DC, making those change from there where it's permanent and not always a hardcore, fight and battle, like until it's not brought to the table up there, what are we doing? Right? What are we doing? Another individual, speaking of Zoram Mamdani, Zoram kind of found himself in some hot water because Zoram has been very controversial in his stances against Israel. Okay. Excuse me. He has supported the boycott BDS, which is boycott divestment and sanctions movement. He sponsored legislation intended to prevent New York charities from funding Israel settlements in the West Bank. He called Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu a war criminal. Okay. He said he believes Netanyahu should be arrested if he visits New York, in accordance with the International Criminal Court's warrant. He said, as mayor, he recently said his administration was exploring what authority New York City might have, prompting criticism from the legal experts who question whether the city has such authority. Now, to my understanding, there was he came out saying that the city can't do anything, but he said the government should, federal government should. Now, I'm not a fan of Netanyahu either. I mean, when you look at him and Trump are buddy, which again says a lot about his character, how he governs Israel. But in my opinion, what hurts Zoram is that he will, and this is my opinion, he will place all of Israel and say, nope, I'm just totally against them, not the government, but everywhere. And to me, I'm like, okay, that's a bit unfair because citizens can't do anything. They don't have any power. They can't help what the government does up there. In my opinion, if I'm wrong, and please put in the comments. For example, he skipped out on a annual Israel Day parade, which formally celebrates Israel. Is formally the Celebrate Israel parade. It's an annual parade that happens in New York City. New York City has so many events and everything. It's always a big party, right? During the mayoral campaign, Mamdani said that he would not attend the parade because of his opposition to the policies of the current Israel government. Okay. Now, critics, including a number of Jewish organizations and elected officials, argue that the parade is celebration of Jewish identity and solidarity with Israel, not simply an endorsement of the Israel government. So they said not simply, meaning that there is some form of support with Israel government, but for the most part, it's not. They view his absence as a break with a long-standing tradition of mayors standing with New York's Jewish community. In my opinion, if I'm a mayor for New York City, I'm representing all people in New York. That's how you said it in the campaign trail. That's what you said in the campaign. But once again, y'all, it goes back to what I had mentioned. Candidates are products. They're trying to sell a product. They're trying to do everything they can to get them votes to get their asses in that seat. So now that he's in the seat, he's like, nope, I'm not doing it. To me, that is unfair. And I do disagree with that. Because I don't say all Jewish people supports Netanyahu. Just like saying that all Americans support who's in the White House. Because we don't. But we know that there's other countries that probably have a disdain for us because of our leadership, because of our government. I mean, call a spade a spade. Am I wrong? Excuse me. Real quick, because I want to share this story here, but there was a stabbing that occurred in New York City recently. 2 men were stabbed, and they're calling it a possible anti-Semitic or a hate crime. So let me go ahead and share this for you.
Tonight, a terrifying double stabbing on New York City's Upper West Side. According to law enforcement sources, it happened around 1:30 p.m. near Central Park, just feet from a synagogue. Witnesses say the man yelled Allahu Akbar and stabbed a 57-year-old Asian man in the back without warning. The suspect then walked 2 blocks, according to law enforcement sources, and minutes later stabbed a 50-year-old Jewish man in the chest. In this video shot by an eyewitness, you see him gripping his chest. The attacker escaped into a nearby building, but was taken into custody an hour later. See here, according to a law enforcement source.
I'm shocked. I wouldn't have thought. I thought this was a movie scene, you know. I thought this was completely staged. So I'm in shock. I would have never thought that this was happening in this neighborhood, which is very quiet, calm, full of families, and nothing intense happening here.
Video shot by a person standing nearby shows first responders on scene.
Certainly unnerving when it's raining. You're like, geez, that can kind of happen to anyone. Yeah, it's scary.
The motive unclear. Police are investigating if this was a hate crime. They say they believe mental health was a factor.
Aaron joins us now live. Aaron, I know this investigation is still very fresh. Have we learned anything at all about the suspect?
Tom, police say they arrested a 51-year-old man in connection with both assaults. They say he has no link to either victim at this point, but the investigation continues. Tom.
So right there, okay. And I'm not saying that Zoran Mamdani is the blame. But what I'm saying is when you have issues like this occur in your area, right? You do have to be careful on certain rhetoric. Look, I was extremely vocal of January 6th, and I said, and I'll say it again, there was an individual who helped cause and rallied up the troop to go towards the Capitol and cause holy hell. I said that, and I will still continue to say that. They're saying this man has some mental health, then they're saying it's hate crime. There's still an ongoing investigation. But it's a bad look when you are an individual who's skipping out attending an annual parade that traditionally all the mayors have. When you speak against Israel so much, mainly because of the government, but still overall, and this happens, it's a bad look. In my opinion, it's a bad look. Before we close, we have one more story I want to share with you all before we come to an end of this. But again, we will continue to follow up more with the story in regards to what happened in New York. But again, can the far left win the midterms or just the message? That's the question I want to leave with you all. Can they win the midterms or just the message? Last story I'm going to discuss with you all today is comeback season of a former Lieutenant Governor and former Republican gubernatorial candidate Winsome Earl Sears. Winsome Earl Sears is back in the political space, back in the VA politics limelight, headlines, however you want to call it. It's been a while since we last heard from her. She took a huge loss in the last governor's race here in Virginia, where she had a chance to become the first woman elected governor in the state of Virginia, but she did make history as, I believe, the first to be elected and first woman of color to be elected as lieutenant governor. But she had a poor election. I mean, the race was called, had to be the first 15 minutes after the polls are over. It was like, it's over. We already made our decision, because you had a lot of Republicans that didn't support Winsome Earl Sears. But let me go ahead and read you this article here reported by the ABC affiliate 8 News WRIC. Says here that Winsome Earl Sears is returning to the campaign trail with a tour against proposed constitutional amendments that protect abortion access and same-sex marriage in Virginia after losing her governor's bid last year. Now, the former lieutenant governor announced her statewide life and marriage tour ahead of the midterms, urging Virginians to vote no on both amendments at the polls. The two are part of 3 constitutional amendments to be placed in a voter referendum later this year, after previously being passed by the Virginia Senate. Now, the remaining amendments seek a restore voting and civil rights for felons upon their release. Abortion is legal in Virginia, but voters will decide in November if the right to access should be added to the Constitution. The proposed amendment also includes protection for healthcare professionals and when making such decisions, and allows restrictions on access to abortions during the 3rd trimester, with exceptions, according to the Virginia Department of Elections. Now, another constitutional amendment on the ballot seeks to remove language that says the state may only recognize a marriage between a man and woman. Okay, so let me read that again, because I got a text on my phone. On the ballot seeks to remove language that says the state may only recognize a marriage between one man and one woman. The new language would also prohibit the state from denying the issuance of a marriage license based on sex, gender, or race. Now, Earl Sears, who previously served for 4 years under the Republican governor Glenn Youngkin, said both amendments raise serious concerns and fundamentally alter Virginia's principles. She will travel throughout Virginia in the coming months to speak with citizens, churches, community organizations, and local leaders. Now, former gubernatorial candidate lost to the Governor Spanberger by a 13-point margin. A 13-point margin. Earl previously made history as the first ever Black woman to be chosen as a Republican, for the Virginia governor, as a Republican nominee for Virginia governor. Wow. The first Black woman. That says a lot. Now, with these amendments here, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, I think. The abortion one is always going to be the dicey one. I think the same-sex marriage one, as well as the restoring voting and civil rights for felons upon release, I think that's a big deal as well, because I know plenty of folks who are, former convicted felons that they're like, look, I can't vote. I don't have access. It's been very, very tough for me to try and vote. And it's a shame, because, hey, they did their time. They're trying to have a second chapter in life and treat them like everyday Americans. That's how I see it, because I've had on my buddy Ramin Fadahi, Norfolk Commonwealth attorney, had said, prison should not always just be a place to send criminals. There's also be a rehabilitation facility for folks who, made some pretty crappy decisions. And don't get me wrong, we have some evil individuals who belong in prison, okay? But you also have folks that did do some bonehead things that prison, jail has changed him, has said, hey, look, I need to do better with my life. And they come out new people. So yeah, they should have the right for that. As far as for same-sex marriage, look, I've always been for same-sex. I'm in favor for same-sex marriage. You should be allowed to marry whoever you want to love. That's a shame in my honest opinion. In my honest opinion, I think it's a shame. Love who you want to love. Love is love at the end of the day. Love is love at the end of the day. That's just my 2 cents. But let's see if the former lieutenant governor has that kind of power in the Republican Party and can help make a difference on this campaign trail, y'all. But look, my friends, thank you for sticking with us here on the Arrington Gavin Show. I got to go, but I hope we will continue this conversation in regards to the disconnect between the Democratic Party, between the socialists and the establishment. It's midterm season, it's very competitive, and we will continue to bring it up here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Until next time, stay tuned for some more great conversations, great stories, great guests. I have a lot of guest candidates, elected officials lined up for this program. So yeah, stay safe, stay blessed, stay informed. It's midterm season. I will talk to you soon for another great convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm out.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.